What is up, Speed Gaming fans? My name is Adam, aka WXFan21, joined by Jagger. Jagger, what is happening? If I call you Jaeger at any point, I apologize.
That's okay. I forgive you in advance.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I feel better.
Yeah, we got some veterans who have been in a couple of past Fusion any percent tournament or any vanilla tournaments. Big Ohm and Destructor. So these people know what they're doing.
Yes, they do. So again, this is part of our Super Metroid tournament. This is round, I guess you could consider it like round number 2. There weren't that many matches technically in round number 1. So this is outside of the other round 2 match we have tomorrow, as a matter of fact, which will be C. Scotty W versus Nat Celadon. Today is the number 5 seed Destructor versus the number 12 seed Big Ohm. And I'm going to have fun with that name. So, all right. Oh, and Destructor has a camera.
Nice. Yeah, I was a little confused because the on the tournament bracket, like we have round 1, we have round 2. Round 1 is just 2 people, and 15 people have buys. So
yeah, I couldn't quite understand it. So my
round 2.
I'm like, so is this quote unquote technically round 1, and we had like open qualifiers? Don't mind my CS mind going at all as I gear up for the CS2 launch.
And they're off.
We are off and running. Jagger, what are you expecting here from these 2 runners?
I'm thinking it's going to be a lot of clean movement and standard speed strats, and they're just gonna a lot of the difference is just gonna come from little things. I think there are a bunch of tricks throughout the run that just save hardly any time, but we may see a few different approaches to rooms from time to time that we'll point out.
For sure, as we already saw Big Ohm get a late start, already past Destructor here in just movement. So this is going to be very interesting to see from both runners. So pretty standard start for both of our runners here. We clear out the X and quarantine cave, whatever you want to call it. We're going to head up to the first data room to get our missiles and have 10,000 chats with the ship on the way. And then we're going to be heading into our first boss, which is Arachnus. And Jagger, we'll talk a little bit about more when we get to Arachnus, but there are definitely some RNG things that can really mess up runs real quickly here early on in, quite frankly, every Fusion run.
There are 10 Idors throughout the game, 2 of which you're unable to kill in one shot. So each time those Idors open, there's a roughly 50-50 chance. I think it's like a 7 in 16 chance or something like that for them to shoot a beam and be invulnerable. So it's kind of a coin toss between whether or not you can actually hit them. And the first Idor is going to take 3 shots to defeat, and a second Idor as well. And from then on, it's just 1 shot each. So this roughly 12 to 14 coin tosses per run, depending on whether or not you nail some really fancy tricks.
Yeah, that's true. So the reason why the first 2 Idors that we're going to see are 3 shots each is because once we get by the second Idor, that's the boss. I don't know the boss's name, but that boss has our charge beam, and we can just have 1-shot attacks on the doors from there, and then we can either charge beam the Idors, or once we get our super missiles in Sector 3, just hit it with a super missile.
Yeah, that boss is called Arachnus. It's the one that is not a spider.
Yes, Arachnus, the first boss. Second boss, I mean, what's the name of the charge beam boss? Does it have a name?
Yes.
See, Scotty's calling it Elephant Bird.
Elephant Bird, yes, that's what it's called. It's called Elephant Bird. Nobody really knew that in the English community, at least for years and years. So we just call it Charge Beamst.
Oh, Charge Beast? What charge?
Charge beams with an M.
Oh, charge
Because it gives
beams.
you
Okay,
star beam.
yeah, I'm fine with that over. I mean, elephant bird sounds a lot funnier.
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
Good work, developers,
Destructor!
for naming in general.
Wow, Destructor
Nice.
with the amazing RNG on that eye door. Big Ohm is not getting the greatest at all here from RNG on this eye door.
Oh,
Destructor
you know what? I've been
already
corrected. That is, Charge Beams was from Zero Mission. I sometimes get the two confused. I think the one in this is basically just called a Core X, because there are like several Core X's that give you beams that kind of look the same.
Yeah, nice doubles from Destructor. So one thing here on Arachnus that I alluded to earlier, the RNG is like you're seeing both Destructor and Big Ohm. Arachnus did go into Morph Ball form, which renders Arachnus invulnerable. Nice double from Big Ohm. Can you finish it off? Yes. Nicely done from both runners. Destructor with a little bit of a lead, but we've seen so many times on these runs already some unfortunate deaths that have happened or close to deaths or anything else. So anything can happen, especially with this as any percent and not 100%.
Yeah, we're really hoping, like, these are pretty veteran runners, so I think we have a pretty solid chance of no deaths occurring, but even still, RNG and just potentially, like, a slip of the thumb could send you, like, falling down a shaft or something.
Yeah. Can we also give a shout-out to our friend Schmade over there in chat? Feel better, Schmade. Heard you were feeling a little under the weather.
Yeah, so we were talking about the eye doors being a source of RNG, but the bosses can provide some additional RNG as well. That Arachnus, the non-spider, is has a chance to just roll, which it just kills a little bit of time. And like there's I think they both just got it to just had it roll once. It's possible it just doesn't roll at all.
Yep, and we see Big Ohm go for main deck missiles. Can't blame them. Blame him at all. Excuse me. So, and listen, Sax, when are you going to realize you can just hit the door and all have to destroy it? Stupid Sax.
You know what's even funnier about this cutscene is you can actually open that door before going down the elevator, and the door stays open, but the SAX destroys it anyway. Just walks up to the frame, shoots the open frame, and just blows up.
Oy vey. So, yeah, Schmade, feel better. Schmade will have a run tomorrow. So feel better, Schmade. Chat, show some love to Schmade, please. Over in chat, we appreciate it. So one of the other bosses that Jaeger did mention that has some RNG, for example, it's going to be our third boss, and that is going to be Zazabi, the big, jumping, weird, worm-looking thing.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest, like the biggest source of RNG, the most infamous source of RNG, like singular source at least. It's probably about the same amount of deviation as the eye doors.
Schmade is getting absolutely zero love from chat, including their fellow runners. They want Schmade as weak as possible so they can beat them. Wow. Well, Schmade, I hope you feel better. I'm sure Jagger does as well, but like, come on, chat! Wow! Flash, don't you start, you and your cringe missiles. Spirit. You and your cringe missiles. Don't you start, Flash.
So there's some interesting quirk with these ventilators that you have to shoot. You shoot them with 3 missiles and they get destroyed. And then the smoke has to clear the room before the door will open. And a weird thing about that is that the smoke clearing is based on cycles that are kind of based on you'll see the background flashing red, and there are a couple cases in which you can actually just wait a little bit for the flashing to just be in a favorable timing, so that the smoke for some reason just clears faster.
Yeah, Destructor unfortunately not having any luck getting green X's there. So if you're just new to Fusion, I know a lot of you aren't, but in case you're watching in the new to Fusion, The yellow X's will give Samus energy. The green X's will refill on missiles. And there is Destructor. I think got a double. Destructor has cheat codes for the first couple eye doors.
That's pretty wild.
Oh my goodness! Nicely done. 3 cycle there for the Core X. Charge Core. And now all eye doors are going to be one hit now that we have our Charge Beam. Destructor with the fancy ledge jumps. Big Ohm is not getting any kind of luck. Finally going to go face Charge Core.
Yeah, those double shots on the Ardors are really tricky. You have to shoot and spin on the same frame, and that will basically that'll place your arm cannon effectively in the lower back of your sprite, which will allow you to shoot from behind you. And because the missiles accelerate, the first one will catch up to the second one later.
Oh, so that's how the double works.
Mm-hmm.
I never exactly knew how that worked, so that's interesting.
Yeah, because normally if you're spinning and you fire a shot, you'll unspin so that you'll fire the shot. So it'll come out in front of you. But if you shoot and respin, it basically kind of, since you're not spinning, it checks what your position is going to be.
Okay. Jagger, real quickly here, we are having some sound issues for chat. There is on my Discord end as well. It seems rather low. How is it on your end, and is there anything we can do to possibly boost it up by like 20%?
Perhaps.
I mean, if chat really wants us to, we could be really mean and boost it by like 200% below everyone's ears out, and then everyone shuts the stream off and maybe blows up their computers. Hashtag buying Intel. Oh, no kidding. What did Flash do now? Thunder, what did Flash do now? Do we have to have a moderator just for Flash? Jeez. Alright, Destructor making their way up, heading over to Sector 2. Big Ohm is done with Sector 1 as well. Jagger is currently working on sound, so while Jagger does that, both of these runners are now going to go pick up their bombs. And we're going to have our quote-unquote, I guess, like, first true encounter with the SAX, because the SAX is going to blow up the door. So, as you see, when Destructor goes over here to the navigation room, you're going to see that, oh my, Sector 2 looks really, really small. Well, in actuality, on the map it looks small, but the entire bunch of hidden plant areas are going to come into play real quickly. And here we have to unlock our level 1 hatches. So really not much else here. Destructor, like I said, going to go take care of those level 1 hatches. Going to go get bombs. Big Ohm is not that far behind. Maybe about 30 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds at this point. Anything can happen here. Again, with this next boss, Zazabi, all it takes is some bad RNG, though with the way Destructor's cheat codes are working, it's not going to matter. We're just going to see one jump each, and who knows? Maybe Zazabi will just blow itself up.
Hopefully that resolved it. We'll see.
All right, so we shall see. Thank you, Jagger, for trying that out. And here we go. We got the blue hatches unlocked for Destructor. Chat, keep it civil. Sounds better on my end. Thank you, Jagger. So I was just telling everyone about Destructor's hacks that maybe, you know, Zazabi will either have one jump and be ready to go, or maybe Zazabi will just blow itself up. Because what we're seeing right now, Destructor's RNG is kind of crazy. Listen, you all weren't Barria's fan when Barria was taking on Mike Food, alright, chat? I'm just saying. Let's call a spade here, chat. There's a lot of crime going on in chat. Ooh, Destructor almost landed on those red caterpillar-like things. Zozos, I think they're called. Who comes up with these names? We already faced Elephant Tusk, aka Elephant Fant Thingy, Big Elephant, Ice Aged Elephant, Charge, Corex, Thingamajiggy. Jagger's had enough of my commentating already. They've muted me in Discord. It's okay. I get it.
Yeah, sometimes you just need a break, you know?
That's
so, yeah, I was just checking on other
Well
players'
done.
audio as well. That should all be balanced now.
Nice movement from Destructor here. Big Ohm definitely trying to make up a little bit of time. Destructor actually gets a beam!
Whoa, 2 of them.
Oh, man. Oh, look at Destructor's face! Listen, dude, you got lucky on the first 2 eye doors, alright? 1, 2. Okay, 2 for the first 1 for the Zazabi. Destructor with such good RNG so far.
Yeah, so Zazabi typically can jump as few as only 1 time the first round, 2 times the second round, and 3 times the third round. And the upper limit scales up similarly as well.
Oh, wow. Not 1 green X there. That's unlucky. Now you got some missiles there, Destructor. I believe this Core X takes 4 hits to destroy.
Yes.
There we go. Do 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 do.
So you could kind of get relatively easy double shots on the cores by having the missiles inside them when they spawn, so that they both hit on the same frame, doing double damage. So you can also get double hits after that, after it's spawned, by effectively just shooting straight up, so that you have a parallel, like an even wall of missiles.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
Destructor. Oh, okay.
Oh, shot
I thought we were I thought we were gonna see sack skip there.
So yeah, because the core's hitboxes are actually rectangular, the side of the hitbox will actually hit both of the missiles simultaneously. It's a much easier way to set up the doubles.
Now we're gonna see Big Ohm. We're gonna see Big Ohm go for the sack skip. Nope.
Very risky. There are some setups for it, but you have to be really precise with your movement.
Yep. We saw it a couple times already this week. It is very difficult to do, not something I would advise doing in a race, but we want content, racers!
Yeah, interestingly, if you're not confident on running through on just 1 E-tank, one option is, like, if you're picking up more E-tanks, you could just get a 3rd E-tank by this point, and you'll actually be able to just face tank an ice beam, get shot in the back with a super missile, and that'll let you just run through the SAX on, I want to say 1 HP. Is it 1 or 99? I can never, for some reason, I always get that mixed up. Very different numbers. But that'll let you.
It's still less than any E-tank, so regardless. Still high on damage. Don't mind me as I have a granola bar.
$8.99 on 3 tanks. Okay.
Say Chewy chocolate chip granola bar. Hashtag not a sponsor. Chewy, if you want to become a sponsor, you should reach out to the folks at Speedgaming.
I feel like
All
there's
right.
something a little wonky about the way the ice beam does damage, because I feel like sometimes if the SAX freezes you, you survive on 1 HP.
It's
I
really
don't think that's the
weird,
case with the supers though.
because if you think about it, the way the SAX shoots the ice beam, you technically already have by the time Simus gets the ice beam at the end. I know, spoiler warning. Like, you have everything. You have wide beam, you have wave beam, you've got plasma. So I can see a little bit of the wave there, why it looks a little bit different, and why maybe hitting it at a certain time is different. And now this is another one where the hits have to be extremely precise. The Ceres fight, which is our next boss, which we're going to get a speed booster from, everything here is very precise. If you... And this is where we've seen runners lose time this week. You have to hit it, and we're going to see both of these runners probably try with their veterans at Fusion running. If you have your charge beam out, fully charged, and you hit Ceres point blank in the face, it'll do a lot more damage than like several missiles. You can do a 2-round Ceres if you hit Ceres point blank in the head with the charge beam. If you miss it and it's not point blank, it's not going to work, and you have more rounds of Ceres to do so. We're going to see here if Destructor and Big Ohm can capitalize on that effectively, and Destructor finally getting paid back on these beams.
Some data for you. The missiles do 10 damage each. The charge beam has 2 parts to it that each do 10 damage themselves, and a third part just encompassing the cannon that we call the flare that does 6 damage.
Oh, and Destructor with 2 nice shots.
Yeah, so it does a little more than 2.5 times the missiles at this stage, and that's why the Idors will die in 1 shot. They have 25 HP, and you're doing 26 damage in a single shot. A little newbie trick there when you're speed boosting. If you want to spark through a really low overhang that's only like 2 tiles high, normally when you try to shine spark, you'll kind of jump in the air a few pixels and then you'll spark in whatever direction you want, and that'll usually bonk the overhang. But if you're standing underneath the overhang, it tries to just not spark, and you'll just jump in place and almost immediately land. But you could just rapidly input another jump so that you do a mid-air spark, which isn't jumping in the air. So you spark perfectly even along the ground.
Well, there you go. Destructor has lowered the electrical water. Lowered the water so electricity is no longer affecting anything. This would be like if you're in 100%, you can go start actually collecting items. Like we see Destructor pass a missile here. Again, it's any percent, so it's not something that these runners are really going out of their way with when you have all the time of that speed boost to get through 3 rooms. So neither one of the runners chose to do reverse Ceres climb. Ooh. We want content! I'm kidding.
It's one of my favorite threats.
I've seen it done once already this way. So Big O, I'm going to go ahead and take care of lowering the water as well. Destructor is heading out of Sector 4. Destructor pulling away with the lead because, unfortunately, Big O failed the second charge shot. To me, it looked like it hit Sarah square in the face. And just unfortunate. So, oh no! Big O, unfortunately, lost the shine spark and now has to take a little bit more of a time loss there, probably about 5 seconds to maybe 7 seconds, 5 to 7 seconds of a time loss, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
there we go. Oh no, Big Ohm!
Must have been a frame or two late on the unmorph.
Yeah.
Typically, when you bounce on the ground when you're on morph ball, you have a couple of frames where you kind of stick to the ground, and most players will use that to immediately unmorph and immediately thereafter spark to be perfectly aligned. But if you're a little light on the unmorph, sometimes you just bounce too high.
Having a little fun with chat. Destructor hits the nice Shine Spark all the way across. Gotta go take care of those level 2 hatches. And now gonna go finally upgrade our missiles. Gonna get the super missiles.
I guess Big Ohm does have 5 extra missiles, but the missiles they grab are so quick that it's kind of it saves like a couple seconds at the cost of like, I don't know, 8. So it's not as big a time loss as it seemed, at least.
So Big Ohm finally reaching Sector 3. But Destructor is just a few rooms away here from, Don't start, FBiz. See, I try messing with chat, and chat messes me right back. It's okay, you dish it out, you can take it.
Destructor was trying to go for a strat there. There's a really difficult trick called the data spark, where you store a shine spark on the data room pad. So you download the data and do a spark out of the room afterwards, and it's really, really precise. You could get a little bit extra wiggle room if you skid along the ground by releasing the D-pad and then wait to crouch to charge your shine spark, so that you're spending more time on the pad itself. So you have to wait for the pad to lower all the way before you download it. So you give yourself just a few frames extra leeway to do that. Unfortunately, Destructor crouched like a pixel past the pad, and it just went back up again.
So Destructor with the nice robot fight. And Destructor are now going to go to Sector 6. And this is where some of the run, I don't know, picks up, slows down, just kind of eh. I feel like this part of, like, the game itself, Jagger, is kind of eh. It's like we go get Varia, we go play around in Sector 5, we go free some animals. Oh, no, sorry, we get the emergency, and then we slow down, we get animals, and then we get power bombs. So it's just like, emergency is really like the only like cool, fun, crazy part. Like right now, we're just really exploring all the different areas. Big O definitely behind right now.
But like gameplay, like game design wise, it's Sector 6 is pretty spooky. Just going on your way through the dark with like a ton of very powerful enemies that sap a ton of health from you.
Yep.
And
nice
then
fight
it just
from
kind of needs to give you a break. And Sector 5 is pretty gosh darn harmless. I think it has maybe the weakest enemies of like your trips through these sectors for the first time. Some of the weakest. And then on top of that, since you have the Varia suit, you're absorbing the blue X. So those will heal you for 30. Is it 30 or 60? 30, I think.
I have to start ignoring chat. Chat's not even making any sense at this point. Destructor laying the bomb to go and easily get that missile pack on the way out of Sector 6. So Destructor at this point pulling away, but again, both of these runners have just one energy tank. So with that being said, we've seen a run end here in Sector 6. Unfortunately, just too many of those cold X's ganged up on one of the runners. So, but Destructor having absolutely no problem here avoiding it. Again, you know where those blue X's are that aren't causing you a problem. And now we're going to go ahead and take on the SAX again here in another room. Because we actually need the SAX for progression. They have to power bomb that wall. Samus doesn't have power bombs yet. So in this case, not only to stay underneath and avoid the SAX, but needs power bombs to be able to even clear and progress out of this room.
Yeah, at least that's the excuse the game gives you. We've found that technically you could get out of bounds. I think that's only on the English version. But if you do so, since you're not encountering the SAX and like getting its attention, it never advances the event flag, so you actually can't proceed even if you get past the wall.
Really interesting. Nice run through Sector 6 here from Destructor. About to go ahead and take on the Variabus. Destructor, seriously, can you, like, turn the hacks or cheats off? My goodness. And the room with the face in the background. Three, four. Nicely done from Destructor. This is the first Core X we're going to see that takes 6 hits to defeat.
It's 2 doubles so far.
Yep. Destructor, really nice segment. Really nicely done. And chat's favorite suit. The mustard suit. I'm kidding, chat. Don't hurt me. Kidding. I just wonder, like, who came up with the yellow idea? Like, interesting concept, but the suit is just... Hey, Flash? Shh. Only kidding. Now it's just an easy escape here out of Sector 6. Now Samus can go ahead and absorb all the cold Xers without getting frozen. There we go. Destructor gonna pick up that other missile pack. You know what I wonder here? I wonder if Big Ohm's gonna skip that missile pack. Because remember, they already got technically the extra missiles from Sector 4. They could save some time by not getting it.
Yeah, there's a spreadsheet in the Discord of how long it takes to get each of the, at least the nearest missile tanks. And I'm not exactly sure which ones will be the longer, whether it's that one there in Sector 6 or a couple more later on the main deck.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Big Ohm got a bad pattern there as the giant Core X there went way up, and Big Ohm had to wait to hit their fourth charge shot. So both runners easily making their way here through Sector 6 with little to no trouble whatsoever. Destructor now in Sector 5, the most revisited sector in the game. We're coming here 3 times. No other sector gets this kind of love. At least in any percent, anyway. Everyone's still waiting for Flash Frost in chat to come up with a new any percent run.
Yeah, there are a bunch of sectors that you go into twice. Is it? I think all of them you go into twice. But yeah, this is the only one you go in 3 times. Pretty short visits though, so.
Again, in any percent.
Yeah.
Yes, Flash, just like some of your missile shots. Easy escape here for Destructor.
I'm not going to hold my breath, but I'm really curious if either of them will opt to go right after this security door unlock.
And to head backwards would be interesting. Nope.
Okay. There is an option to actually backtrack to just go in through the back door to the data room.
That I gotta hear, because we don't have, what do you call it? Ice missiles yet.
Mm-hmm. It requires a frame-perfect shine storage after running off of a ledge.
Interesting. Things that Jagger practices in their free time.
Yep.
In their sleep. In the shower. At dinner. At work. It's all Jagger's thinking about is that frame-perfect shine spark. I'm kidding, Jagger. Please don't kick me off this ring.
It's accurate.
All right.
It actually does save about half a second to a second, but it is just it's a frame perfect trick that if you fail it will cost 15 seconds. So
Ooh.
yeah, people
Yikes.
don't generally go for it,
Fair.
but it's fun. And even after you get the frame-perfect shine storage, it's still a really tight run to actually use the shine spark to restore it. And the slope in the next save room.
Mm-hmm. All right, chat. It's your time. I want to hear it. Emergency in Sector 3 or emergency in Frankerzy. I want to hear it, chat. Last couple streams I've been on, it's been a little weak. Still a week. Let's go, chat. Not enough Frankerzy emotes in chat. There we go. One of Gallon's favorite parts in chat, I think. On all the streams I've been on, they love this part of the race. And this is actually a very interesting part. Jagger, why don't you tell us a little bit about this and how it could be one of the more technical parts of the entire run? One of the other commentators I was with said this route is very technical.
So this is a pretty popular part. I think it's largely because there is a timer going on, so you could actually see your in-game time as you collect it. But there's also a bit of a song that goes with it. It goes something like, bark, look at the Frankerzy bark. Here is he bark so free. Bark, 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 Frankerzy. And so there are also a couple of...
Chat, can we get some claps, please, for Jagger's freestyle? Let's go. It was well done.
There are also a lot of tricky tricks throughout each of these rooms. There's a couple of door fixing, some really tight jumps between fireballs. Kind of got hit by a fireball there, but that will just happen sometimes. It's pretty precise to go through some of these. Freezing enemies along the way, just because it takes too long to kill them. Kind of face tanking, ignoring damage. In the next room, they're going to try to freeze a Nova on these blocks, because those are crumble blocks. If you stand on them, you just fall in. And then you just rapidly fire missiles on your way in through that door, and it always freezes that side hopper in a optimal position, so you could actually just jump through the hole in the upper floor.
Mhm.
And then we get a chance to do some falling double missiles. Because of that acceleration, you kind of fall past the missiles at first, so you can shoot another missile as it catches up to you.
A 4-minute 28
double on that
second. Should be 4-minute 27-second emergency in sector 3. Nicely done from Destructor.
Yeah, really
Let's
solid.
see what Big Ohm does. And you can see there in the room that Destructor was just in. If you go ahead and shoot that ice missile, you can climb up and save, what, 1 to 2 seconds probably? Rather than going all the way around?
A few seconds, yeah. Like there are holes in the floor that you gotta jump across, some enemies in the way. So yeah, it's probably 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah, definitely interesting. And, you know, like Jagger was saying, all the technical stuff you have avoiding these, making sure you don't fall off in this room, the bigger rooms, hitting those little tiny ledges and sections you can stand on, just so many different things you can do to make it very technical. Even getting out of this very tall room. Almost like a red tower here from Super Metroid, just because it's red. Very good escape from Destructor.
So that room where they were swinging on monkey bars to cross a bunch of lava pits, that's a really tricky room, because as you're jumping, you want to release a charge shot to kill the enemies in your way. But you also want to be jumping up to grab the monkey bars above. If you grab it first and then shoot, then it's part of the beam is going to hit the ceiling and you're not going to kill the enemy. So what they do is, as they're jumping upwards, they tap R to switch to missiles, and that'll fire the beam, but it won't make you unspin, because you're not releasing the shot button, I guess. So it fires the beam while you're spinning, allowing you to kill the thing and grab the monkey bars afterwards. They also did at the start of that room as well, they did a bit of a spin backwards to be able to wall jump off of the ledge that they ran off of. And wall jumping actually gives you a bit of a speed boost. It has a higher horizontal speed than regular jumping does, so you actually make it a bit further onto the ladder before slowly climbing across. It saves barely any time, but it's really noticeable.
A 419 from Big Ohm. FPiz got a little excited in chat, thinking that they were, big braining genius calling 421. For Big Ohm, it was actually 419. I'm only giving FPiz crap. Destructor is pulling away with this race right now. Already up to go save the animals, and Big Ohm is just trying to now get out of those lava pits there, and rather than on the monkey bar, is just absorbing the damage and going to the lava.
Yeah, that's the overall theme of speedrunning Metroid Fusion. You get nickeled and dimed for seconds and frames.
Big Ohm also with the nice escape out of Red Tower. That's right, I just named a room, chat. Deal with it. And
it's a good animal pattern. Maybe not so much.
Oh my goodness, where are they? Where's the Threadicune? There we go.
I saw it. It went towards the left side, like as they were entering the room, and it just waited there. It didn't feel like moving. It's totally random. You can't really manipulate that. You can't really predict it. You just at the mercy of RNG. Sometimes one of the Edicoons will actually run past the door during the opening animation, so that they'll be on the other side of the room, and it'll just cost time as well.
You know what's interesting? Is the fact that Destructor's hacks didn't work there on the animals. Apparently, it's only hacks for eye doors. I'm going to continue to give Destructor crap, because those two first eye doors with not one beam was absolutely insane.
It's technically in your favor, but it never feels like it.
FPiz, timeout for you. Take a 30-second timeout and go to the corner and think about what you just said. He said Edacoons taste like chicken. FPiz
really
needs to
depends
be
how
in
you see
timeout
that.
for that. Chat might be hungry. I have no idea.
That's why so many stream bingo cards have talking about food as a square.
Oh, that would be a free square one. Quite frankly, any of my commentating and cast, that should be something that Destructor
Curious
mad
how
at that
Big
pattern.
Owen deals with this room. Okay, just kind of waits it out. Little more consistent, reliable.
Yeah.
Destructor went for a strat where he's trying to jump over the first stretchy and then freeze it underneath him to use as a platform to ascend. It's a pretty tricky strat. We call it the impossible strat because you got to do that and then you got to jump up the next wall just for a moment so that the second stretchy reforms underneath you and then freeze it underneath you again. And that's a little bit complicated. It's not the most difficult.
No, but like you said, complicated.
Yeah, one of the old school runners, Jamie Fosho, would unfortunately struggle with that particular trick, and therefore he confirmed, like he did the science, it is impossible.
Interesting. So once again, second time back here to Sector 5. Actually getting to a data room with ease for the first time since really Sector 2. Well, I guess in Sector 3. This one hasn't been blown up yet. And now the run is going to start picking up here very, very quickly. We're going to have to fight the SAX here. And then once we go and fight the SAX, we're going to go back to ship, Yakuza, Metroid. And then I believe we're going to get quickly on after that to Nightmare.
Yeah, the beam always kind of peeks out of like as you're exiting the room.
So
If you're a little slow on that, sometimes you get frozen on that ledge. Like it won't kill you, but it'll put you really low on health.
So rude.
And sometimes if you're really distraught, sometimes it will kill you.
Destructor has pulled further away in this race right now. The movement is just super fast, super clean. Destructor is done with Sector 5 and is now in the room with Nightmare in it. As Big Ohm just... they're going to high five up in Navigation Room.
Ooh.
Oh,
Like-
Flash, leave FPiz alone. Jeez. FPiz does it one time. Excuse me, they high-fived in save room. Flash still lost to FPiz. Just saying. For those of you that are just listening and not watching chat is having fun. A bunch of the runners are giving each other friendly ribs, if you will.
And if you're watching on YouTube, welcome back, because you're probably in the chat right now. These are
Here we
fun
go.
to watch back later on, like in later years, just to see how people performed in the past as well.
Pretty much. Basically, everyone's just gonna go watch Scotty's stuff to see how the legend basically owns Super Metroid.
Yeah, he really took the scene by storm. There There's always that one guy, isn't there? Now it's like two guys. Monkey's pretty much starting to work his way up.
Yep.
It's been steadily improving year after year.
I love watching Scotty stream. He's just watching him play is just effortless. And hopefully have the chance to commentate Scotty's match tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
2 matches tomorrow, by the way. Good chance to plug while Destructor heads to fight Yakuza and Big Ohm heads back to the ship. Our 2 matches tomorrow are going to be Schmade versus Monkey SMB, commentated by Barrier and Freddy. And that's at 1 p.m. Eastern. Nat Siladin versus C. Scotty W is scheduled for 4 p.m. Eastern. And that's our races for tomorrow from Fusion. There are going to be a lot of races also on the Super Metroid Randomizer scheduled also for tomorrow, so just keep that in mind as well. You have to stay tuned for all the Speedgaming channels. And if you're going to be watching Speedgaming tomorrow, you got to tune in at 8 p.m. I'm going to have a fun little preview show for the Metroid Prime Randomizer playoffs coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern. Oh, Destructor got a beam! 2 beams! Take that!
Oh, and I have a feeling we're about to see the worst possible RNG on Yakuza, the spider boss, who isn't actually an arachnid because it only has 6 legs. Or it might be an arachnid and it just lost 2 of its legs.
Technicalities.
For sure.
That's 3 for Destructor.
I've seen a lot of spiders with only 7 because they're detachable.
Okay. Destructor has a 4-round Yakuza fight.
It's a pretty neat fight because in its first phase, you usually have to like most people will just wait for it to crawl around the room because they don't want to take so much damage. But it is actually faster to just jump up into its claws because you could pretty rapidly wiggle out so that it'll climb back up to its roost, I guess, almost immediately. What was that, like 2-round Yakuza? That was actually... Oh, was it 4? Okay.
4-round Yakuza.
So, in theory, like, across thousands of data points, like, it's roughly a 1 in 4 chance for each circumstance, like one round, 2-round, 3-round, or 4-round. Mm-hmm. It's technically evenly dispersed. However, in practice, pretty much every runner agrees that the vast majority of the time they get 4 rounds.
Interesting. So now this is probably, if you're a casual player like myself, probably the scariest part of Metroid Fusion is this Sax escape, because you are literally running away from Sax.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize before watching these races that there was a missile door there at the bottom. I mean, I probably did because I tried doing 100% in this game. But, like, when you're racing like that, you just want to get through all the doors. Like, you're not looking for secret escapes and everything else, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in a casual playthrough, like, you go into the next door at the dead end, and it's just a dead end with a wall that you could hide in, and then the Sax just walks away.
Yep,
and
that's it.
Then you get to explore around, and then you find the missile patch, the missile block.
Yep. So Destructor's on really good pace right now. Destructor now heading for the Metroid fight. Oh no! In the Samus Eaters.
Mm-hmm. Those things are pesky. Those really trip up newer players because their instinct is to mash the jump button.
Yep.
And if you're mashing the jump button, you're doing short hops. And because you're like in that water, you could see the water after they're disintegrated.
Nice Metroid fight.
The only way to escape those plants is to hold jump and do a full jump out of them.
How many rounds did Big Ohm have to do for Yakuza? Was it also 4? FBiz is saying 4.
Yeah, I've mentioned in past commentaries before that Yakuza is really popular among bartenders because he'll just like walk into bars and he'll tell the bartender, "Hey, bartender, 4 rounds for everyone."
Chat, I'm done. I'm out. I'll see you later. That joke ended it. Bye, chat!
Yeah.
I'm only kidding.
Bye.
That was actually really not bad. Listen, Schmade, do you want Monkey to beat you tomorrow? Why are you still in chat? Go to bed! Schmade's too busy practicing right now for their run versus Monkey tomorrow. And here we go. Time for Big Ohm to take on the SAX in terms of running away from it. Because Samus at this point doesn't have plasma yet. There's no way to damage the SAX. No way!
Okay, that works.
No freaking way!
That was great.
That was so weird!
There is an interesting property with doors. Like if you're entering a door, I think it'll receive data that'll be interpreted the next room on the last frame, like during, like before it aligns the door. And then once the door starts moving horizontally, it'll advance another frame.
That was just insane. Bonked by the ice beam on the last frame. Unbelievable. And Big Ohm is going to get no beams. That's good. It's the longest shine spark in the game.
Oh yeah, this one feels real good.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, the way those SAX chases work is that when you're going through rooms, the SAX will spawn a little bit later. I don't know if it spawns a little bit later or if it just comes through later. But yeah, you have just enough time to backtrack through the door you came in, and you'll just miss the SAX.
Mm-hmm. And there it is, the notorious fight for Big Ohm. Little short on missiles there towards the end, so... And getting no green X's. Big Ohm having bad X luck right now. Needs those green X's to refill missiles. My goodness.
Oof.
Misses a missile there. Big Ohm losing a lot of time. Bad RNG with these X's.
Trying a little too hard to get these doubles.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's better to just take the single and move on to the next one.
And now Destructor is already on the Nightmare fight. So again, we've gone from Yakuza to the SAX escape, to the SAX run, to Notori, to Nightmare. Definitely one of the more accelerated parts of Fusion. Destructor might be happy, but Nightmare's face is crying.
Yeah, the strat here on Nightmare is just pummel it with missiles. Interestingly, the plasma beam is probably the most powerful thing you get in Metroid Fusion. It'll do damage per frame. But against Nightmare in particular, since the outer shell is basically kind of overlapping with the face that you're supposed to hit, it's going to destroy the beam in a single frame. So you're only doing 1 frame of damage. So you're actually doing less damage than you would be doing with wide beam. But you have so many missiles and you're like so powerful that they really just melt Nightmare. We'll see the power of the plasma beam both on regular enemies and on a couple of the late game bosses.
So this is also something here to keep in mind, that Samus, and I've been joking about this, so I'm going to continue the joke. Samus is about to start breaking a ton of rules. Gonna go unlock the Sector 4 hatches. Gonna go do some other stuff that Samus shouldn't be doing.
So another optimization is learning to fire your beam to open doors while space jumping with the speed boost going. You have to do that R shot with the switching to missiles to fire your shot without breaking a spin, and you have to do that while timing your jumps to
So basically,
make sure
without
you don't
breaking your
land.
fingers. Got it.
It takes practice for sure.
Mm-hmm. And Big Ohm, nice shine spark.
There's a more infamous trick instead of that shine spark, where you actually just do a continuous space boost, as we call it, speed boosting with space jump, all the way from basically the room before you normally spark, all the way to the room past where you normally bonk. And that saves a few seconds, but it's extraordinarily difficult. Because on top of just having to make sure you don't land at all in these 3-tile high corridors, there's also the fact that there's a really weird quirk with the way those doors are, because they're just screen like openings in the screen instead of like proper doors. It just sets your Y coordinate when you enter the room so that you're on the ground. So if you're falling at all, you're immediately landing.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to go through 5 door transitions.
It sounds like if you miss it, obviously it's a great time save. But if you miss it, oh man, it sounds like you're losing way more time than even it'd be worth doing the save.
It feels bad, but honestly, you don't move that slowly when just running and jumping and stuff. Like, you lose a couple of seconds. Like, a few seconds realistically.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more so that it's just so nerve-wracking to do that it'll kind of mess with you for the rest of the, like, surrounding parts of the run.
Makes sense. Big Ohm is missing these doubles.
There was a good double there. So it gets increasingly harder to get double missiles on the cores, because every time you upgrade your missiles, there's a slight increase to the cooldown time for firing your missiles. So like 1 or 2 frames extra that you have to wait to fire your missiles. But also they have a higher top speed, so that they're gonna be further apart once you do fire them.
Gotcha. So Samus broke another rule, got diffusion without authorization. And speaking of authorization, that was an unintended segue, because Samus is going to go break yet more rules by coming across a secret hidden area that she shouldn't know about. Then going to go blow up said area.
Technically, you could get to the navigation room without diffusion missiles that you're not supposed to have, allegedly. And if you do, the computer will just like it's called the secret message, because it'll just act impressed that you were able to just use this difficult series of shine sparks to get through, and it'll just tell you, but you're supposed to go break the rules and go get diffusion missiles. So go back and do that, please. Get back on track. You're not allowed to leave the sector until you break the rules.
So wait a minute. So that's the secret message if you don't get diffusion missiles?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You get that message, and you can't leave until you get them. Gotcha.
Destructor is on an absolutely amazing pace right now. Like, looking at probably a 112, 113 pace if everything goes right from here on in. I mean, am I wrong in thinking that?
It's going pretty well.
Looks like it's going to be a 3-round robot fight, and there it is. The last Core X before the SAX. Time to get Wave beam. Chat is giving me absolutely like no respect whatsoever. Wow. Chat's saying about a 114, 115. It's okay. Those of them in chat that are giving me a little bit of poo-poo, shall we say, are just gonna get my dinner bill, that's all. I'll make sure to order the filet, chat. Big O better be very, very careful.
Yeah, I just noticed his health there at 54, but it should be all right because they're going into Sector 5, which is full of a bunch of blue X, which just give you a ton of health refills. Or Sector 6, right?
Yep. Oh, Samus.
And just huge clusters of blue X for refills.
You just had to let the SAX in here, didn't you, Samus? Oh no! Bad Metroids!
That room was probably the inspiration for Metroid Prime Pinball. I'm surprised that wasn't like a secret stage. Because all those baby Metroids are basically just bumpers.
Yeah. There will only be ever truly one baby Metroid. And if y'all play Super Metroid, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Big O, never. Let's see. I'm gonna go take out that robot. Getting bumped around here by these enemies, definitely losing just a little bit of time. And Destructor now gonna go to a somewhat interesting Torian design here, and gonna go take on everyone's favorite dragon lizard, Ridley. Please note the sarcasm when I said that. Destructor facing the Golden Guardians, aka the Ridley Guardians.
So now you're gonna get to see the true power of the plasma beam. It'll take 100 missiles to dispatch Ridley. You'll see just how quickly it is with the plasma. Just shreds right through him.
Yep. I'm on the other side, by the way, is in big trouble. 65 HP. There you go. Oh, I'm out of trouble now.
And a fun fact about Ridley's scream, it's actually so extremely loud, and like it not only kind of like makes the GBA speakers crackle, but like even if you don't have the stream open, you could still hear Ridley screaming.
Oh, that scream is annoying.
Yo, and pacifist trip through those rippers, through that ripper hallway. Very nicely done.
Mm-hmm. All right, 108. Gonna get out of Torian at probably what, a 108.45. Excuse me.
So yeah, at this point, those missiles are doing like 45 damage per shot. And against Ridley, I think the charged plasma beam does something along the lines of like 700, like 750 or something damage optimally.
That's just insane. The plasma beam is so OP in any Metroid game for that matter.
Because Ridley's sprite is so huge, and because of that damage per frame, there's a lot of time the beam's doing damage for.
Basically, Destructor calling Ridley fat. I mean, Jagger's calling Ridley fat.
It had a big, healthy diet of X beforehand.
Pretty much. May or may not actually be the biggest Ridley in the game, like the Metroid series. I mean, Meta Ridley definitely gives it a run for its money. That Ridley is huge, though. Yeah. And now begins the long chat with the computer.
Yeah, I'm just
wondering. If anyone needs me, I'll be taking a nap.
Or two.
And if anyone needs me, I'll be taking a nap through this. Ness Ridley?
Ness Ridley is just kind of adorable. Like, Ridley and Kraid both.
There's sound chat. They're just talking back and forth right now. Lots of communication. Still lots of communication. Oh, look, it's Adam. Not me. Different Adam. And now it's time for the final battle with the SAX. With one of the 10 of them. And then the Omega Metroid, and we are done. Oh, Jagger apparently really wants to hear the screams.
See, like even when the audio's on Destructor, you could still hear Ridley coming through on Big Ohm's stream.
That's just ridiculous. Crazy. I'm telling you, it sounds like someone is pulling Ridley's tail.
Funny you mentioned the tail, because that tail is actually it still has an active hurt box after, like, as it's exploding. So if you jump up into it, like, if you're on low health, you'll take a ton of damage.
Gotcha.
Basically a double KO. Still really nicely done from Big Ohm. I just looked away for a second.
I did the same.
Destructor very swiftly dealing with the SAX. That is actually a particularly tricky fight, because although the plasma beam does damage per frame, normally the SAX will turn invincible like as soon as it's hit, but it won't go invincible if it's frozen. So if you freeze it and then shoot it, you're doing a lot more damage per shot, and you could actually finish off the first phase in 4 shots, whereas it normally takes like over
200 million shots.
Yeah, roughly.
FPiz wants me to comment. Destructor hasn't finished the race yet, FPiz. Destructor could still get his ass kicked by the Omega Metroid.
Not quite getting that low height Shine Spark at the very end that we were talking about back in Sector 4. There is a, like, as you're falling, you could either do pretty much a frame perfect Shine Spark along the floor to just narrowly miss the overhang at the very end of the hallway. Another potential strat you could use is you could morph as you fall and then do a bounce and then unmorph there, but that also just kind of eats into that time saving. But if you just go for it and you kind of spark too high and you just bonk the overhang, it only costs about a second, surprisingly.
Gotcha. All right, well, here we go. GG's, and that's time. 1 hour, 14 minutes, 34 seconds. And Destructor is your winner of this race. Big Ohm just ended up just... the movement at the beginning was really nice, and then just Destructor just pulled away. Which
little
is fine.
by little.
Yep, and Big Ohm hasn't forfeited. Wants to finish out the race. Much respect. So yes, now FPiz will take on Destructor. You just let me know when, FPiz, and I'll see if I can commentate it. I hear it's going to be a best of 3, though. And you're going to be at a disadvantage. We'll do Metroid randomizer rules. Only 25 energy per energy tank you collect. Yeah, that was the week 6 preset. It was so much fun. All the energy tanks only gave you 25 energy.
Which Metroid was that? Was that Super?
Metroid Prime Randomizer. That was the
Metroid
week
Prime,
6
okay.
tournament. Yep.
Yeah, I love the Prime randomizers, especially Prime 2. Just there's something about the way they designed that map that just really lends itself very well to
nice
randomizers.
Well, if you're interested in the Metroid Prime Randomizer tournament, I'm actually going to be doing something really cool tomorrow night. I'm doing a recap of the tournament so far and a preview of the playoffs. That's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern on one of the Speedgaming channels. Yet to figure that out yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Big shout out to Speedgaming for allowing me to do that, and it's going to be a ton of fun getting people hyped for the ending of the Metroid Prime Randomizer tournament, and I'll give you all a little sneak preview at the next tournament that they have planned. And here comes a Destructor in the waiting room.
Early on in the development of the Prime 2 Randomizer, I made a preset that was fusion-like, so that there were actually 32 Powerbomb expansions in the game.
That's awesome. You just had enough of just the few Powerbomb expansions that are there, huh?
Yeah.
Not that we use power bombs a lot in Metroid Prime, but anyway, GG's Destructor.
Yeah, welcome on in, GG's.
Hello, thank you.
You are welcome.
That's a solid 114. How'd you feel about the run?
Not very satisfied. Many dark points early. It was kind of tough for me to get into the race. As usual, I always have nerves getting into it, so my movement really isn't crisp in the first 10 minutes of the game. RNG really carried my back on iDoors specifically. Yakuza 4 Cycle, that's not true. But...
Let's call it what it is, Destructor. You hacked the couple first iDoors, all right? Let's just call it what it is. You get some hacks going on.
I actually didn't do that. I was playing on easy, and then I switched back to normal so that it wasn't as obvious.
Good thinking.
Very nice, very nice.
Big Ohm also Shine Sparking a little bit early. Also clipping the overhang there.
Big Ohm on their fight with the Omega Metroid right now. They're going to finish with about a 119. Definitely not bad. To your point, Destructor, the movement for you was definitely not as crisp at the beginning. And then it was just like, okay, where did this guy's movements come from? And you just flew.
Yeah, I kind of knew it. Tournament nerves are definitely a thing, and there have been a lot of racers who have just kind of struggled to just like getting started, and then just kind of got a feel for it as the tournament progressed and like as the run progressed. I definitely like I've done a couple of marathon runs in the past, and like I always get just pretty nervous starting out the race, and just takes a few minutes to settle in.
Yeah. Big Ohm finishing with a time of 1:19.10. So nice finish for Big Ohm. And we will get Big Ohm in here for a post-game interview as well. So Destructor is back with us, and I had to step away there for a second. So Destructor, what is it about the front portion of the run there? Is it just early on nerves with the movement?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how I feel. At least I'm always kind of tensed every time we have one of these races starting. No matter who I'm facing, like whether I know I'm a favorite, whether I know I'm done, or anything, I always have these nerves. So crisp movement, especially on the climb, it's very obvious that I'm struggling. It goes a little better as the run goes on, but yeah, a bit of nerves at first. It's normal.
I do also want to compliment you, though. You did successfully save the animals. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, these guys took their sweet time. Jesus Christ, I was about to fall asleep.
Big Ohm has made their way into the stage. Big Ohm, GG's.
GG's.
Yeah, GG. I have not finished a run that hilariously bad in a long time.
Well, Destructor stole all your RNG on the iDoors.
Oh my god.
Terrified us, Big Ohm. Oh, man.
I know, I was about to die a few times.
Especially that post Yakuza sax chase. That was
yeah, I don't.
That was nuts.
That was sad.
Strats.
The damage knocking me back into the door was a little upsetting. I was like, "What?" I've never seen that before. Granted, I usually make it through the door before I get shot, but oh well.
Yeah,
Just
still pulled together.
Sometimes.
Finished the run.
Yep.
So anything else y'all felt were like highlights or lowlights of the run you wanted to touch on?
Skipping the Red X before Zazavi with one missile.
Oh no.
Well, skipping it. Rather probably being like 2 or 3 frames too early on the run.
Not killing Zazabi in the last cycle.
Not a fun time.
No.
Well, at least perfect sacks. That was a good way to finish the run.
Yeah, we tried to cover you by vamping on like how terrible the RNG is. I was kind of thinking maybe the chat wouldn't notice. The cat's out of the bag now.
Cool. Jagger, I got nothing else. You?
Yeah, I'm good. Y'all have anything else to add?
Nah.
No, Destructor, you want to, crap talk on FPIZ at all? Since FPIZ is your next opponent, you're more than welcome to. FPIZ has been running his, you know what in chat.
Yeah, FPIZ, you're just wasting your time right now. You're wasting your time practicing because your D-Rust run was better than my PB, so why the heck are you even practicing strategies? You're gonna beat me anyway, bro. So, like, you're just wasting your time practicing and learning new stuff. Don't pretend you're gonna go for 44 or something.
Wow. There you go. Shots fired.
And it looks like Big Ohm, you're going against Flash Frost next round.
Alright, cool.
Cool. So, hope y'all have a good time in the tournament, and have y'all generally enjoyed it so far, or at least this particular match? Hey, did you notice that we started on time?
Oh yeah,
that's pretty hype, right?
Hey!
Not complaining about that. That's for sure.
A fusion match starting on time. Love to see it.
It's an honor.
Awesome. Well, GG's to both the runners. Since we haven't had a chance to mention it yet, and I haven't mentioned it yet, Exclamation point R in chat to follow both of these amazing runners. Exclamation point C to follow the commentary team. And for do you have anything else? Otherwise, if not, I'll get us out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks,
right.
everyone. See you next mission.
See you next
Later.
mission for Big Ohm, Destructor, Jagger G. I'm Adam, aka WX Fan 21. We'll see you next mission. Bye, everybody.